Your 401k is diversified. Your Roth IRA, diversified. But your friends? Let me ask you something. Who do you go to when your relationship is falling apart? Who do you go to when you're spiraling about work? Who do you trust with your big ideas? Girl, hear me out. Nobody else has heard this yet. Ones that haven't even seen daylight yet. Who knows your lore? Who has your receipt? Who can you call when you're standing in front of the metaphorical Washington Monument, about to jump off and need somebody to talk you down? Do you find yourself going to the same people, same one or two people over and over again, hoping that they can be all of that and not necessarily having your needs met? Hi, I'm Amaya. I help build community from college campuses to corporate offices and everywhere in between. And today I'm here to tell you, you gotta diversify your social portfolio, because your well-being and literally like your ability to become the person you're meant to be depends on it. There's a stat from Pew Research that I can't stop thinking about, which is that a narrow majority of US adults, just 53%, say they have between 1 and 4 close friends. That exact amount is not disclosed, but 38% say they have 5 or more, and 8% say they have no close friends at all. Yet 61% of people say that having close friends is extremely important to living a fulfilling life. So clearly, many of us are craving and need and want that deep connection, but in some ways we're being undernourished. We're expecting 1 or 2 people to carry the emotional, intellectual, and logistical weight that typically a full community would carry. It's like throwing your whole retirement on a single stock and hoping for the best. So let me make the case for diversification. Because the truth is, we need different friends for different parts of who we are. We need the emotional support friend who knows your patterns and holds you accountable. We need the career strategist who can help you play chess and not checkers. We need the party friend who will hype you up and then make sure you get home safe. Let's put an emphasis on that. And the non-party friend who will help you move your couch and cash in on the pizza that you offered to give them in return immediately. Like, we need that right now. Run that Andy's back, okay? We need the friend who knows your spiritual side, who challenges your politics, the friend who remembers your childhood nickname, may have actually come up with it themselves. We need all of them. So a clarifying note is that when I say diversity and diversification, I primarily don't mean different races, nationalities, genders, etc., though that is important too, and here's why. So a 2024 study from the University of Alabama at Birmingham says this: people with mixed social networks comprising both similar and dissimilar people reported higher levels of social cohesion, which was closely associated with increased personal well-being. And it goes further. Life satisfaction peaked when people had a friend group where about 50% of the people of the members in the group were of different ages, races, incomes, or education. In other words, sameness makes us feel safe, but it doesn't make you feel whole. Difference does. So let's pause on social cohesion for a second. That term doesn't just mean we get along. It means a felt sense of belonging, mutual trust, and connectedness. It's what makes neighborhoods safer, workplaces healthier, and friendships more sustainable. Social cohesion isn't built when everyone in the room thinks like you. It's built when people choose to show up for each other across differences. When you learn to flex different muscles, practice empathy, and stop mistaking agreement for connection. And Michael Norton, a behavioral scientist, puts it this way: we try different things with new people, and that is good for us. That can be good for us on an individual level. When you're around people who see the world differently, you access new parts of yourself and you grow. I can tell you personally, moving to a new city and a big city out of my home state has been obviously phenomenal for this growth to happen, because now I have had to make friends not just with people who grew up just like me, who had the same kindergarten teacher as I did, who goes to the same peanut festival every year as I did, but people who have perspectives from San Francisco, and perhaps people whose like parents are like a surgeon, and people whose parents were immigrants, and all these different intersecting factors that have contributed to them being who they are have now contributed to me becoming who I am, because their perspective comes into my life and then we meld. So that's a beautiful part of living somewhere where different types of people are plentiful. Research also shows we often share more with weak ties than close ones. One study found that people turn to weaker ties more than expected for important discussions, especially one-on-one where the stakes feel lower. These aren't people who are strangers. These are former classmates that you see like once or twice a year. They're acquaintances perhaps from church, or the coworker that you like just talked to during lunch, but they're not on your team. And yet, weak ties serve as bridges, giving you access to new ideas, opportunities, and even emotional insights because they aren't invested in the same narrative of who you have always been. You're free to explore who you're becoming when you're with these people. Sometimes the safest place to be honest is with someone who doesn't already have a stake in your script of who you are. I know some of y'all are thinking, but I've had friends, acquaintances, whatever, let me down. Let me offer you a different lens. And this might be a hot take, but maybe they didn't let you down. Maybe you expected them to be the wrong kind of friend. Licensed therapist Lena Suarez Angelino breaks it down like this in ways to frame your different type of friends. Acquaintances are low-pressure connections who serve a time/place purpose. So you may see these people every few weeks, not necessarily intentionally. Social friends, they're fun, easy, they party with you. They're intimate friends who offer deep support, wisdom, and care. And then the epitome of friends are those unicorns who can do all of this. But here's the hard truth is that most conflict and pressure doesn't come from malice. It comes from misalignment of these roles and expectations. You needed an intimate friend for this thing, but you asked a social friend. You needed logistical help, but expected emotional labor. And sometimes you were the one asked to be everything. The most freeing thing you can do for your relationships is stop demanding them to be one size fits all. So how do you do this? How do you diversify your friend portfolio in real life? This is maybe a less scientific approach, but it's things that have worked for me. And I'd say start here is talk to the people who you normally overlook and not talk to. Not people who make you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, but people who aren't necessarily your type. That quiet coworker, that neighbor you nod at but don't necessarily engage with. Those are mines for these types of friends. I'd say also go one layer deeper into the things that you're interested in. Say you like music, try a concert in a genre you don't necessarily usually listen to. If you like cooking, take a class in a cuisine that you've never tried or never had. You don't have to reinvent yourself, just shift your view a little bit and shift who you are right outside of who you usually are. Be patient, be curious, be consistent. You are friend dating a little bit, but you're also relationship building. Don't expect to instantly have that depth and instantly know where this person's gonna fit in, but start with small talk. Don't rush the conversation. Unclench your jaw. I'm saying this to me too and lean in. Also, watch my video on how to make friends. It has a bunch of like different tactical ways, a bit more theory. It's a bit more actionable for how you can do this. I think it applies here also. So we started with a question. Who do you go to for what? Who's in your corner? What role do they play? We talked about how most people are trying to get one or two friends to do the emotional labor of a full community and how that's not just unfair, but it's also unsustainable. We talked about the power of diversification, how different types of friends fulfill different functions, how weak ties expand your growth, and how belonging, real belonging, the kind that improves your quality of life, is found in diverse, intentional, and well-aligned networks. So here's the bottom line of all of this. There is nothing wrong because one friend doesn't get you on every level. You're not failing because your group chat can't give you career advice and emotional therapy and share your taste in music. You're just trying to get one person or three to do the work of a village. Pause, recalibrate, diversify. You don't necessarily have to find 12 of the perfect friend, right? That's not a thing. You just have to build the right ecosystem around you, build the right community. That's what creates real social cohesion. It makes you feel fuller and like a freer version of yourself. And I can attest to that personally. So if this spoke to you, I'd love to be your friend. Hit subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what kind of friends you're looking for to add to your friend portfolio. And until next time, love you guys. Keep building your community.